long as the sun is up, you can walk through this building without turning a light on. We'll use about 10% or less of what a conventionally built home would use. We have this geothermal heating system that's been installed.
It's
high levels of insulation, high levels of air tightness, and advantageous solar exposure. A vegetated shading system, hopefully creating more power than we're using, an opportunity for intensification. Construction material diversion, a continuous air and vapor barrier all the way around the entire structure. My future rainwater storage space, they're triple glazed, low E, inert gas filled, thermal inch brakes, there's advanced gaskets, there's fiberglass in the frame. The terms green and sustainable, they really are vague. They really are rather ambiguous terms.
Right.
So when I, as a planner or designer, sit down with a client to begin a project, we really start by first coming up with a definition for that project, so that we know what we're striving for. You know, we develop a set of goals that are client specific and that are site and project specific. In this particular project, being the planner, the designer, the construction project manager, and now the occupant, I needed to come up with my own definition of green, my own specific goals for the project. The definition that we used in this project was really defined by some third-party organizations, namely PassivHaus and LEED. We used their definitions of what is a better built home, as opposed to selecting goals that perhaps are less comprehensive than those set out by LEED and PassivHaus. PassivHaus is all about energy efficiency. The LEED program, on the other hand, takes a much broader approach to green building. The LEED program does also provide one with the opportunity to choose their own path, to emphasize one aspect of better built buildings versus some other aspect. And in this particular project, it really was energy efficiency where we focused our efforts. But of course, in order to earn the LEED Platinum certification, it couldn't be only about energy efficiency. We certainly did take into account or included elements of the design that addressed issues around indoor air quality, durability, etc. This building was planned, designed, and built to be a more energy efficient building than what is the convention in the Ottawa-Gatineau market. The intention was to create a building that uses many fewer resources than all of the other homes that surround us, specifically energy. And the factor that we were striving for was less than 10% of what a conventional home might use from a power consumption standpoint. And our way of ensuring that we hit that target eventually during the planning, design, and development process became the PassivHaus standard. And so this building is now PassivHaus certified, as well as LEED Platinum certified. The PassivHaus standard in particular speaks to the level of energy efficiency that we've achieved here. Really using materials that are off the shelf, using materials that one can find at their local building supply store, and in most cases using local materials, and certainly wherever possible using materials that were supplied, frankly even manufactured here in North America, as opposed to bringing in materials from overseas. We prefer to use materials in our projects that local trades are familiar with and that are readily available at prices that are easy to swallow. This building, in terms of its construction value, is no higher than what a typical construction value would be for any other custom home in the Ottawa-Gatineau market. Although this home is more expensive to build than a tract home built one of 400 by a major developer, this being custom home, it certainly does cost more than many new homes in Ottawa, but it's right on par with all other homes, especially those that are infill in the central city.
Okay.
In terms of things that we might do the same or do differently in the future, there's all kinds of them, and really that was one of the major goals of this project, and will be a goal in our next development project, and that's to learn from the process so that we can help our clients make better decisions, ultimately based on our successes and our failures. We learned things about designing to avoid thermal bridging in our exterior walls. By that I mean learn things about designing better walls, better connections between walls and ledges or canopies or balconies, such that, or so that heat can't escape from the inside of the building in the winter time as easily. We've learned things about heating systems, specifically geothermal heating systems in this project that we weren't familiar with before. Although we've used green roofs on buildings in the past, never to the extent at which we find a green roof on this particular building. So there's 16 inches of growing medium above my head right now. Designing a building to support all of that extra weight, designing the roof so that we can contain all of that growing medium, given its depth, that was something new, presented some challenges, and certainly we learned from those experiences. I could probably give you a list of 100 items in this project.
Yeah.
When I speak to new clients about prospective projects or about a new project, I often encourage them to give themselves time, because time can be as valuable as money. We live in a world that tries to move quicker than it should at times, and when we move too quickly, we don't give ourselves opportunities to live better, to live more fully, and to certainly address issues as they inevitably arise. To take time, especially given the amount of money that goes into the construction of buildings, period, especially better built buildings, you should really give yourself the time so that you get full value of that money that you spend. You can certainly spend money and build something quickly. You can spend money and build something not in a really slow way, but build something in a more thoughtful way, and ultimately with the goal of creating a better product. So yeah, and speaking to someone new, give yourself time, and then decide what's important. Decide what you're going to try and achieve with your project, and be focused in those goals, or in that goal setting exercise. it's really hard to do everything. So decide what's most important and go after those things first. And then ultimately, if you have the luxury of creating a space that's unique, creating a space for you, do just that. Create something that is for you. Don't create something that looks like what's in a magazine or what you saw that your friend did. Create something that's unique to you, something that fits, hopefully, within the environment which it's set, but something that you're going to be able to enjoy over the long term. In terms of costs in this project, because I've suggested earlier, this project didn't cost us any more to realize than a custom home might otherwise. A custom home with different goals. Perhaps a custom home less interested in energy efficiency and more interested in the material qualities of the finish, the aesthetic value of the structure. This building really did prioritize energy efficiency, but I don't think it did that at the expense of some of these other important parts of a successful building, namely its function, our ability to use it day to day, its beauty, etc. I think that in terms of dollar value, in Ottawa Gatineau, it's very hard to build a custom home for less than $200 a square foot. $225 a square foot today is a typically used ballpark number or estimation of new home or major renovation construction value. In this project, we spent between $225 and $250 a square foot to build. It really depends on what elements of the building you include within your budgeting. So, for example, there's a photovoltaic generating system on the roof of this building. Is that part of the construction value or not? I see that as an add-on, one of those things that take the number from 225 up to 250. But it's an important point of reference. Also, the green roof. Certainly, there's an additional cost to a green roof. Is 16 inches of growing medium typical? Of course, there's a cost associated with that. Is 16 inches of growing medium required on a typical building? Probably not, given most people's goals, most people's priorities. But here we wanted to do it really for reasons of professional development and because we like to garden. We don't have a big garden at grade. We just don't have land any further than a few feet outside the building's walls at grade. So we put what might, in another context, be someone's backyard, stuck it up on a roof. I don't believe that better built buildings cost more. I don't believe that they have to cost more as long as one is focused with their intentions and is willing to compromise their priorities for things that don't need to be as important. The best place to find a compilation of information about this project and other projects that I've done for that matter is on the Vert Design and Development website.
Okay.
So, vertdesign.ca. About this home specifically, there's a page, I think it's titled the Rideau Residences. It's got photographs, specifications, and then of course contact information to get me by phone or by email, or also to get at some of the other people that worked on this project. And, this project was about a year in planning and design, about a year in construction, and I've lived in it now for just over a year. I'll be renting or selling this home within the next year and moving into the next
Yeah.
the next professional development
Awesome.
development project.
Does anyone currently live next door, or is it?
My brother,
Oh, your brother.
but it's for rent. He's moving out in August. If you know anyone who wants a 3-bedroom, 4-toilet home in New Edinburgh, he'd be happy to talk to him.
Cool.
Cool.